Hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lynch here at Imperfects HQ, standing in the flagship. I wanted to come to you live with a little story here. There's a story that we talk about internally at Imperfects all the time, kind of keeps us centered, brings us back to home of why we're here and why we're continuing to try to fight this good fight of building a lifestyle brand that hopefully outlasts us all. And it boils down to a couple words. It's start with a shepherd shirt. This whole thing starts with a shepherd shirt. Imperfects was born because of a shepherd shirt in so many ways from an apparel perspective. The shepherd shirt is, here's one right behind me in the original Shipyard canvas. It's a baby shawl collar, understated and classy, rolled so you can put a point collar underneath it, of course. It's got a narrowing placket, which is just beautiful. Takes the hemlines, takes it right down into the hemlines. You'll notice that there's rounded corners. That is my idea of paying homage to old shawl collar sweaters that shepherds used to wear, of course. When I was learning to make garments early on in my career, about 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I really started to realize that less is more and utility is the most important thing of all. So with an overshirt, you'll realize that there's no hand pockets. And the reason is because it's a shirt. That's why we call it the shepherd shirt. There are two pockets, however, three technically speaking, that are really useful. The first pocket is this big one on the outside. It lands somewhere between second and third button. And the idea behind that is that it's accessible to drop things into as your shirt is on and you're wearing it. And it also is at a nice height to where if you do bend over, what you have in that pocket shouldn't fall out. There is a little hidden coin pocket in the front too, which is rad and super useful. That actually came to fruition because I started making shepherd shirts. I designed the shepherd shirt around when my first baby Ace was born, and I used to shove binkies in there. And then at some point when I was traveling back and forth to Japan for design and creative reasons, it was a great place to store my coins. So we call it the hidden coin pocket. And then on the inside, there's a cash pocket, cachet, if you will. And that one comes off the second button, right at chest height, kind of a classic hit. We put them in almost all Imperfects pieces, and that's just so you can tuck away valuables. I usually put my cell phone in there. Coolest thing, in my opinion, about the shepherd shirt is that it is so understated and so easy to wear. It pairs really nicely with anything and everything from a t-shirt to a collared shirt to even another overshirt if you wanted to put that underneath it too. You can also throw a jacket over it. They're usually landing anywhere between 8.5 and 14.5 ounces, so they are pairable from a shirting perspective. They also come with a slightly tapered and a slightly cropped arm. And the reason behind that is so that it's easy to check your timepiece, and also because you want to be able to layer underneath it and cover it up or conceal it if you need to. The vent at the side is an ode or an homage to gis and kimonos. I have a very specific infatuation with kimonos, and the way that they're made to just kind of like anatomically move with the body is a really beautiful thing. We straighten it up and we give it a back seam, kind of gives it, again, like an ode to gis or kimono making, but it also just sharpens it up a bit and it makes the construction a little bit stronger. There's always a locker loop on the interior of every shepherd shirt. And this guy, Shipyard Canvas only, has this. We make the shepherd shirt in about 15 to 30 fabrications given the time, any time throughout the year, I should say. But this one right here has pin shanks on it. These are Corozzo pin shanks. These little buttons, while they might not look like it, are some of the most expensive buttons you can make in the world. And I don't do that for cost reasons. I do that for innovative and responsible reasons. Corozzo is a fallen tree nut from Brazil. It's a Corozzo nut, but they're really strong, especially when you grind them down and make buttons out of them. So they're one of the cleanest buttons that you could use. And then we put these on a pin shank. So the pin shank, this little brass tassel right here, that thing comes off like a key ring. You can take your buttons off. That's an ode to World War I era fatigue style garments that would have been in wartime. A lot of buttons used to be wooden back then, so you'd have to take your buttons off to launder your garment. So we do that because technically these are wood garments. They're made from Brazilian tree nuts. I could go on for days about the details of the shepherd shirt, but we'll leave it there for now. Start with a shepherd shirt. You won't be sorry.